Hello, and welcome to the Signal Box today. Thank you very much for joining me. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe, and we'll crack on with today's video. So, what have I been doing and what's been going on since you last saw the railway out and set up? So, unfortunately, we had a little bit of a problem yesterday. I was doing some investigation into some wiring underneath the baseboard while I had it in storage, and unfortunately, we've lost the lights in the front of the layout. If you remember, these used to be street lights all the way along. I've had to remove them because the whole lot have blown. All the lights that used to be on the front here, I've left the holes. As you can see, there's holes there where they used to be. I'm going to keep those because I've got some replacements on order. And the light that used to be in the pub and the two by the station hall over there have gone temporarily. And I say temporarily because I will put them back in. I've got to wait a couple of weeks for the old slow boat from China literally to bring them over to the UK. But once they come on, I'll refit some more and we should be up and running. But the rest of the layout's all illuminated. Let's just see. Got station over there, middle of the town, and the ones on the platform over there, and also the ones at the back of the houses. So these ones are all obviously working okay. These are okay, as you can see. So it's not really a massive loss. The rest of the railway is illuminated in terms of the lights there are okay. The ones down by the side of the church, platform and station lights are okay. Middle of the little village is okay. The only ones we've lost, as you can see, is this down by the side of the high street here. I've got nothing there because, as I've mentioned, I've taken them out because they all blew. I think it was my own fault, to be honest. So what happened was I was trying a new lighting idea out, and I tried to power just that circuit directly from the bus bar, which is underneath the baseboard there, directly on the two bus wires, and I saw and heard a little click and all the lights just went off. So I think I blew the LEDs definitely for sure on that circuit, but the rest of them, as you can see, are okay. What I should have done really was tried the power directly from the input side, which is basically all fed up to the resistors, which would have protected the lights, but obviously that's my fault. But obviously the second thing was I lost the lighting transformer last night as well. That decided to get the ghost on me, so I found another power pack, which is 12 volt output, 240 volt mains input, 12 volts DC output, so that's okay. It seems to be working fine, and this one actually doesn't get too hot when you leave it on. It's perfectly cool, so that's a good sign as well. So there could have been a fault with that as well, but so that's a brand new newish power pack I've had to replace, and luckily I found one. Actually, I used an old power supply for a external hard drive, which I don't use anymore at the moment, but they're pretty cheap on eBay. Power supplies, 12 volt DC power supplies direct. They're not an awfully expensive thing to replace, so I know where to get them if I need another one. But anyway, the lights are working reasonably well, as mentioned, apart from the loss of those ones. And we'll get some trains running in a mo. So grab yourself a tea or coffee or whatever you prefer, and I'll see you back with some trains. Okay, welcome back. So I've put the rest of the lights on over in the depot, so we got some more lights as well. I've decided to get the old Deltic out today with the BR blue and grey 1970s coaches to go with it, and they are literally 1970s Hornby Triang items, and the rare Royal Mail in City blue and grey livery as well. So we've got the TPO set up as well, and it's being hauled by a Class 55 Deltic, which is an old Lima model. And I say the word old, it was reissued and rebranded under the Hornby Railroad range, because basically when Hornby, some of you might know, when Hornby took over Lima, when Lima went out of business and went bust in Italy, Hornby acquired all of the tooling, all the patterns, all the designs and all of the X-stock, and basically slightly altered them in terms of performance-wise, motor-wise. And this was the first ever diesel that Hornby Railroad range brought out, was 001 St Paddy, and my example is really quite heavily weathered. So we're going to get this going today. And I gave this a service actually this week. I stripped it all down, cleaned out the commutator, or the commutator faceplate on these pancake style motors. When I looked inside, I found the two brushes that aid power to the motor were really in a very good condition, virtually nil wear. So I thought that's good. That's what I like to see. Nice chunky brushes. Everything inside just needed a bit of a clean, and the wheels cleaned and lubricated, and the gears re-oiled and greased up. So it's a much better running loco now than it was the other day when you saw in the video. It was a little bit hesitant, but I knew it needed a bit of TLC, so let's get her going, shall we? I love playing with this. Literally, it's so much fun. Simple, but really fun to enjoy this TPO. I think it got that. Yes, it did. It's quite a reliable little TPO coach, this one. Sometimes you get a little bit of problem with them, but let's come around here. Yeah, no problem. This TPO, this collection system, this has been going since the days of Hornby 00, the old tin plate 3 rail stuff. It's a very ingenious little system that Hornby came up with originally, based on the prototype, and it's just so much fun. Brilliant. Yeah, I've got a couple of these TP coaches, these travelling post office coaches. I've got one in Great Western GWR colours. I've got a Midland region one, but this, out of all of them, to be honest with you, works the best, I think, or since I've had it. And these are all, like I said, 1970s vintage Hornby stroke Triang vintage coaches, Triang Hornby, with the silver seal wheels still on them, some of them. But in very good condition, and I like them. And they're certainly a cheaper option to the coaches you get these days, as you know, this hobby of ours is so expensive. And not all of us have the money to go out and spend 50 odd pounds plus on just one coach, when you can get quite a decent rake for less than that, or about the same price on eBay, for example. That's where I got mine from. They look all right. I think they look okay. Okay, we'll have a change of loco, I think. What we'll do is we'll bring something else out to put on that TPO. Nice and grimy 37, look at that. That's a Bachmann loco. I've got two of these. I've got one in pristine and one weathered. We'll just bring that round. I think go and collect those coaches in the platform over there. I think we have those. No, we don't. Oh, the joys of YouTube. Right, let's see if we can get in again. I think that was definitely a couple. Should we try again? No, it wasn't. Oh. Let's see if we can. Come on, driver, get it together today. Come on. Yeah, there you go. We got those. Got there in the end. Right. Let's get this TPO away. Okay, so we got rid of the modern stuff and we put some vintage stuff out on the railway. As you can see coming around now, this is a really old Hornby 040 LMS Pug with a rake of little vintage Victorian coaches behind it. And on track number 1, light engine, got the 4MT standard tank. I need to run this more often because it is quite a nice engine. Okay, how about this coming round now on track number 1? Is this or is this not spectacular? That's a nice 1950s weekend possession train there, and that 4MT in charge of that, no problem. And away she went, rumbling across that bridge very cautiously with that train. Now it's really weird because my little 040 here, it loves to run bunker first. It runs quietly for a start, it's not so noisy, and it seems to prefer running bunker first, so bunker first it will go. I'm sure in the 1950s, if you lived next to a railway line, it backed onto the back garden of your house in the 1950s. That's something you definitely would have seen and heard on the weekends as a regular occurrence. The old permanent way train going to or from a possession. Very cautiously round that curve, across the level crossing. Quick pop on the whistle to the signalman, and away she goes. Okay, we've taken the 4MT tank off that permanent way train. We've put on the front of it something that you don't normally see running in BR rail freight livery, this class 58 diesel. It's quite a long, impressive model that came out in the 1980s from Margate by Hornby. Makes quite light work of those wagons there. Normally you would have seen these on what was known as merry-go-round trains, which was very, very long trains with coal hoppers for the power stations. When Great Britain used to have quite a lot of power stations coal-fired, these were the diesels that brought the coal to the power stations for the turbines and generators to be burnt up and made into fuel. I think these, not get me wrong, but I think these possibly were, someone can shout out the answer out there. I know I could go on Google and I should know this fact, but I think these were one of the early pre-runners for the what we've got today with the Class 66s. But you had the Class 59 Arc Yeomans, the Yeoman Foster Stone trains, and then you had the Class 66 sheds. This is probably about as modern as I'm prepared to go in terms of diesels. Anything else in this sort of era does not interest me a bit, but this is quite vintage. I quite like it. Yeah, I remember when Hornby, well, to this day they're sort of half decent and keeping up with what's out on traffic on the real railway. But I know in the 1980s, my local station was Stratford in East London, and I used to go there many a weekend, and especially the Class 37s and 47s coming through in rail freight livery, which was the new colour at the time, this colour, and they look quite nice. And in model form, it looks quite nice as well. This is one that I slightly repainted along the chassis there, the red line around the buffer beam, chassis part there. I touched up with some paint, gave a bit of a paint job. Okay, just about to come through the platform now on the Centre Road. In the passing loop is an Oxford Rail N7. This is a Stratford designed tank engine, Great Eastern tank engine. Again, something else I hardly run, but I should do more of because it's a lovely thing in photographic wartime grey. And away she went. Look at that. Looks quite impressive. I want to get one of these in the Lake Crest BR Black. They're quite a rarity nowadays to get. You can get them, but people will put one on eBay for stupid prices. But when I find one out there for a decent price in decent condition, I will pick one up. But speaking of Great Eastern tank engines, a little bit of an early pre-reveal that in 2025 next year, first quarter, between January and March next year, I've got on pre-order a couple of buck jumpers, the Great Eastern tank engines from Accurascale, and they're on pre-order with Accurascale themselves, and also I've got one with Rails of Sheffield, but I've been told by Accurascale Direct that at the moment, because of the crisis with the war in the Middle East, apparently the shipping is taking longer than expected, so we're looking at sort of earliest January to March next year, which is an awful long wait, but they will be coming obviously in the future, and when they do, I'm sure we'll all enjoy having a look at those. Yeah, it does look quite nice, doesn't it, coming along there with that permanent way train. Again, I never hardly run this, and it's my own fault. I really should do more of getting things out the box and running onto the railway. Even though I've got a tiny little railway here, as you can see, things can run on it, and I don't do static collections. So I really need to get ready things out and run them, and but I've forgotten what a nice little thing this is. Such a superb machine. I don't know what it is about these tank engines in 00 scale, but they really do remind me of their texture and their look, like the old Hornby 003 round tank engines, the N7s. They've got that chunkiness about them, but they've got the more super detail on these things, and obviously they look much more like an N7. But they're all die cast. This is a die cast model. There's very few bits of plastic on this thing. It is extremely heavy, and that's why you get the pulling power and the performance out of this. Again, this is an Oxford Rail model, and a super duper tank engine. Look at that. There's the 4MT simmering away there, just in the bay platform, ready for the next turn of duty. And there she goes onto the loco. Okay, so bringing the video to a close today, we've got our old friend from last week, a very old friend from 1977, this Airfix Royal Scot class, Royal Scots Fusilier light engine going around the railway this afternoon. And as the title suggests of this video today, she's an absolute sparkler, and I couldn't think of a better way to finish today's video with her going around light engine. Well, I hope you've enjoyed today's trains, and don't forget, I'll see you soon in the next one. Don't forget to hit the good old like and subscribe button, and I do appreciate your comments wherever you're watching from. And all being well, the next time you see the railway set up again, I'll have these darn street lights refitted along the front there and over in the station and pub garden area back in situ and working. They should be here in the next 2 weeks or so, but they might take less or more, we don't know. Anyway, that's all from me today. Thanks very much for watching. You take care of yourselves, stay safe this November, and I'll see you soon in another episode of the Signal Box. Thanks for watching. Goodbye now.